Hello, everybody. We popped right up. We're 4 minutes, 4 seconds early. Anyway, um, and I want to welcome you all to this past life recording meeting that we're doing. You can see the table set up with the past life oracle garden. My guests today are Dozen Cats Wellness Tarot, also known as Kelly, and Dr. Gail Skywalking with Moon. These people have worse names than mine, I tell you. And I'm going to do a little clarification. I got several people who wrote me and said, "Oh, I want to do my past life." Well, we're going to do a long past life. What I've done for people when we did the quick show on Sunday was I took one or another, I have 3 or 4 different forms of tying into that energy. And we're going to do the whole series of ways I read past life, and we're going to focus on one past life for Kelly. Now, depending on how lively I'm feeling and how awake I am, um, we're going to take. First. I'm going to take the people who did break the rules and comment under comments and ask for it. And some people have already posted a few queries in here, but for the most part, what's going to happen today, and I'm going to highlight it now in hopes of catching it before it gets too awful. Because I hate to not be able to do people when they want to be done. But what I'm doing for her, okay, here. The readings we're doing today are a long one for Kelly. If I have time and energy, I'll look at your questions. And that's my answer to what's going on here. I've been doing a lot of readings. Since I finished my 12-month readings at the end of January. The end of January is very close. So we are going to do that. And I've also had a lot of requests for other kinds of readings, and I'm catching up on those. And like I've got 4 readings tomorrow. So I don't want to wear myself down, and I want to be as awake for them as I want to be for you when I come and do your readings. So that's how it works. Let's see. First of all, I'm going to put the garden in the middle. I'm going to put the garden in the middle, get my face out of there, and I'm going to get rid of my comment so you can see the whole garden. This garden is available through Alamade.co, not .com, .co. Is the creator and distributor of the Oracle Garden Past Life Edition. Please visit her site, which is at www.alame.co, and she has all the information about purchasing. She also designs beautiful scarves and some other wonderful things, so you might want to look at it. I'm going to walk you through a real quick tutorial on it. The first thing you have is she gives you a marvelous pendulum, and if you ever have to buy wiring for a pendulum, get this stuff. It's called a paperclip chain. It won't knot up. It just, you can throw it in pack. And I have some chains I have to unknot every time I get them out. And I swing that around to gain certain information. And I watch where it swings over these various areas as an intro to this when we get to the garden, to this part of it. What's in the garden? The primary stone is the amber, which is this color that's here. Amber is pine sap that's been around longer than humans, been around millions of years. It gets compressed. It gets very hard. And it feels like a stone and it feels like a crystal. But this will actually burn. And if you burn it, it will smell like pine tar because it's pine tree stuff. And this particular amber comes from the Baltic Ocean. And we found a source that had a whole big box of it. A woman in Ohio that had a whole big box of it. That's an ancestor stone because, in essence, the crystals of this were alive once they were a living being. The other one that was a living being is, I know this looks like red jasper or something. This is actually petrified wood from the red forest. And it's beautiful stone, but it was alive once too, except that minerals replaced the original wood tissue and created the petrified wood. The next stone that we have in here is we have quartz for clarity, and it's clear, and that's like, it's really hard to not understand that one. And then we have citrine for fun and adventure and enlightenment in a way. And so that you can roll those in the garden and work with them that way. And as we get into this, we'll do that. But the way I'm going to start is how I always start past life readings. I'm going to get rid of I'm going to go into comments. Dr. Gail's going to be watching the comments because I can't read the comments and read the cards. I'm clever. I'm just not that clever. So the first thing I'm going to do is what I call Spirit 7. Are you ready? You ready to go, Kelly?
Yes, ma'am.
And Kelly and I talked. I've done this with her one other time. She knows that she has the right to kind of question, say, "What is that card? What do you mean by that?" Blah blah blah. And then I will blah 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 back, and hopefully.
Can I blah blah?
So,
Dr. Gales can blah blah, and she can also remind people as they come in and say, "Oh, please do my past life." I do past lives. I have. If you go to my website, there's a shop. It lists all the kinds of readings I do, and you can, if you want your 12-month reading, you can still fit it in. If you want past life reading, or if you want 3-month reading, and it just talks about all the kinds of readings I do. And those I've been doing. The Celtic crosses I've been doing since I was 12, so I got those down.
She needs to blah blah too.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Now, when you do the Spirit 7, is there a particular deck that you use, Nancy Jean?
I use my regular deck. I can use any deck. I can pull from, as long as it's a tarot deck. And and if you read only right side up, then lay it out with all the cards right side up. Whatever you do.
But, no, because I can see your. Is it the Luna de Sol?
That's going to be that. We're going to use that later.
Yeah,
that's going to be.
I remember the last time that you did it, that you specifically used that deck.
I use that for the 4x4s, and I'll explain that when I get to her. Okay, this is the life you're in now. That's pretty good. This was the life that it's connected with that we're looking at today. And this is where you're at the jumping off point, girl. Remember, we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the life you had in the past. And I see you in a large, all magnificent city. Today, my eyes are drawn to the sea behind you. And it was a place where you learned a great deal. And you've worked a lot of your lives with the strengths you brought from that. But you didn't finish what you needed to finish. And that was how to navigate difficult times, difficult, stormy times. And I get a feeling it was a comfortable time in the world for you. It's an ancient culture. And because of these walls, that's what they look like where you were. And you were her kind of going, I think you're a woman, but we'll find out on the Oracle card whether that's true. These 3 cards are you in this life. Now you've come in with a very full heart and a great deal of spirit, but at your base, you think, why haven't these things worked out? You didn't get it worked out in this life. You're still working on it, but this life you're going to do it, because this is the bridge of despair, and this is you getting off of the bridge of despair. That in a traditional deck would be the 6 of Swords, where the people are sailing away from difficult times to clear times. I always, when I look at this card, you see there's these swords can be stress. They can be things that poke you in the butt, make you go faster. They also can be your thoughts and your ability to cope with things, but you're carrying the wand, the start of a new life. So I think whatever this procrastination and not really dealing with it that you carried from that life, oh wait. Oh, I don't know why that phone rang. I have 2 phones, guys. It's just impossible. Anyway, the frustration of your life is having people take phone calls when they're supposed to be reading. But you are really at the crossroads. You are really at a point in your life where you're having to decide where to fish or cut bait. in this particular one, I don't know if you've ever been there, but those look like the White Cliffs of Dover. Now, if that's the hill you're jumping off of, kid, you got a long drop.
Right.
But you got your little spirit critter with you. You got your little staff to keep walking the right way, and I just see you're sitting clearly on a crossroads. So
Well,
this
and then,
life,
can I ask
Mhm.
you that?
Sure.
You got that. She's got that cliff to jump off. Could that be that she's already done that, jumped off that cliff, or is that in her future?
it's because of the way these cards lay out. I think she's made steps towards getting over the edge, but she hasn't made the big drop.
Yeah.
Oh,
The big, okay, I'm letting it go. I'm going to trust God. The angels are going to pick me up. I would not suggest doing that in real life, but
No.
psychologically, you can do that. So let's go see what we can find out about this person. I really think this was ancient. I mean, this is like not prehistoric, but it's historic times we know of. I had a couple visions last night about where you were in that lifetime, but we'll see.
Just me and the dragon, right?
Just you and the
Awesome.
dragon. Yeah, I don't. No, I haven't seen Cecil for a while. I think he's gone away in the winter, like my Hogarth and his roots. Okay. Now we're swinging the pendulum, and I hope my hand doesn't block it too much. And I'm going to ask: is Kelly male or female? Definitely female, and I'll tell you how I can read that. If this is female, this is male, and this swings way over the female. And we all have both sides in us, but in this life, you were definitely female. Okay, I'm going. What was your issue in this life? We're going to go look at what was the issue that you were working on. Being tied to your ancestors and your soul family. So that tells me that in this life, this is where the things swung about evenly across. In this life, you have connected with ancestors and soul family from this. You already have connections with the folks in this life. So now, what are my stones going to tell me about because then we're going to go to these cards.
Yep.
Okay. Receding and release are great. You're going to get clarity about how to express your masculine image, your masculine energy, and it's going to be accomplished in this life because the petrified wood fell right on top of this life. So what I hear when I read this is the effects of this old life are receding. You're here to release it. You've got your amber stone, your ancestor stone, to release yourself with it. It's going to be kind of let you have more of divine masculine, which is not like guys who lift lots of weights and have big muscles. Divine masculine is an ability to be assertive and be respected for being able to assert yourself. And you're going to do it in this life. So you're in a freedom life. You're in a path. So let's see what we can see.
So that's very much, it reminds me of the emperor, right? Like taking control
Right.
of the situation, right?
Right.
Sort of grabbing life by the horns, we'll say, and deciding that, I choose me instead of the fear, dictating what I do.
Right. And the Hierophant is also rules and regulations. So
Yes.
if you get the Hierophant, you get a lot of structure. So you're structuring things for yourself, and that's important for you. Okay. Now we're going to look at this life, and these cards are called Luna Soul, and there's two cards in it that are not tarot cards. I just pulled one. If the other one shows up, I'm going to pull it because I don't really understand how to read it. I love this deck, but they do wacky things. Okay. I found the other card. Apparently it knew. It's got two cards. One's for duality, and these are just extra cards. Sometimes decks have these, and this one is Wu and Wei. That's sort of like yin and yang. It's kind of like this a little bit, but here they're woven together. Here they fight each other. I don't know how to read those cards, so we're not reading them. Now, these cards, you can tell by the back of these cards, they obviously have an up and a down. So
Those are pretty cards. What kind are they? What are those cards
they're
again?
called Luna Soul,
Luna, Luna.
Luna Soul, SOL, Moon and Sun. Which, if you look at the back, that's the moon and that's the sun.
Yeah, I like those cards.
They're very nice, and I really like, and I like them, and I really work for this kind of a reading. But when artists design cards and they make the back where you have very clearly what's the sun and what's the moon, that means they want them read that way. That means you don't reverse them. There are people who design their cards that don't want them reversed, and they took all the time to design them. I'll play their game the way they want. So.
Right.
Well, you got Miter Sangita. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but she's saying she has that deck too. She loves it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this first row, I'm going to put 4 cards across. This is going to be the base of the life we were just looking at. We're going to look at this woman and see what you carry forward and need to learn from it in this life. And your first card is the 3 of Wands. Remember, I said I saw you looking out at the sea. You always wanted to travel more than you did. And because you were a woman, and because that was the place in the time, and I already told Kelly this, I had a vision about her living in Carthage. And I don't mean Carthage, Tennessee. I mean Carthage, like Punic, Carthage. That was, and you wanted to get born in that city with a long name. That was on the Mediterranean Sea. And this is pre the Romans destroying it time. So this is what sets this row up. This is what was helping you. This is what was limiting you. You wanted to go be the Knight of Wands. You want to go be the adventurer, but you weren't being allowed to. And so this tells me, what are we going to resolve in the next page? Okay. What were you allowed to do? You got 6 coins. What did your family, what did the society allow you to do? So what did you get? You actually took a place that helped government. I think you were remember I said you had a very high-born soul family that we're looking at. You helped the emperor. You helped at the time it was going on. So what was the values you learned from helping the emperor? Oh, that's what you learned. You imposed yourself to help the emperor, and look where you ended up. 8 of Swords.
Yep.
Imprisoned or limited. Your movement became limited.
You know what's interesting, Nancy Jean, is this is the third past life reading that you've done for me, and each of the other 2 times, I had occasion to be desperate for like belonging and acceptance, and sort of led down the garden path, no pun intended, to the garden, but I was ready, willing, and able to like throw myself at it, right?
Right.
And so now it's showing up again.
Is this the first time you've been in prison, Kelly?
That's the first time. I don't remember you having 8 of Swords, but you've had this before.
Oh yeah.
The 4 of Swords.
Yeah.
She had to retreat. So her way of dealing with that was to retreat. So where did the retreat lead to? You felt diminished. You became a page. You should have been a queen, and you were made to feel like you were the page. But the Page of Cups is a very psychic person, so I think that's been a lifelong view for you. And so what did you see as being a page? Oh, you hooked up with the Knight of Swords.
Look at me. No, sorry.
Hiding behind him. And so then what happened? When you hooked up with him and you kind of surrendered to what your society was telling you to do, you got everything you wanted.
Yeah.
Your life became very comfortable. But what hurt you at that point? You always felt like you'd had your life stolen from you. Even if you got everything you wanted and felt like you were in complete comfort. I love this 7 of Swords. Look I have all these other 6 swords. Am I going to risk going for the 7th?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what you live with for the rest of your life. What happened after that? You withdrew inside yourself and pulled away from everybody. Does this sound familiar at all?
Yeah. So
Okay.
whether people know this or not, and the reason why Nancy Jean just said that, so I have anxiety, panic disorder, and depression, and I have isolated myself in my home. I don't leave my house. I'm starting to now, but I mean, how accurate is this? Right? It's remarkable to me.
Okay. Now what are you learning in this life to get away from that position?
Yep.
You've allowed yourself to become the Queen of Cups. Remember, you went back to being the Page of Cups. This time you said, hell no. I'm going to be the Queen of Discs, Queen of Values.
Yep.
I'm going to sit here and let the world. And guess what she's got? Oh, I thought it was a kitty. She does it now. She's got a deer. This one doesn't have a cat. At first, I thought that little butterfly in her lap was a kitten.
Interesting.
But so that's what you've become. And how's this working out for you? Well,
Well, you know what's interesting though about that card is because it's like total challenge all the time that you don't retreat backwards to what you know, right?
right.
So
It also means
you're
the
sort of
worst
constantly in combat. You know what I
But
mean?
it also means the worst of the problems of the transition are over. That's helping you. Let's see what you're going to do next. This is fun. Oh, you've gotten through the fear and pain. You've moved on. You're mastering your craft. You're learning how this 8 up coins, learning how to do what you want to do. So what's the outcome?
Honestly, that makes me so emotional. Like I could cry. Like seriously, tears coming in my eyes. The idea or the thought. This is why past life readings are so amazing, you guys. The thought or the idea that I have come that far after 10 years of isolating myself and being hostage to the fear, that this is coming out, right? That I am right on the doorstep of having this like new fantastic opportunity in front of me. I mean,
Yeah, but see what she did is when you came out of your shell in that life, you became the Queen of Discs. Put yourself forward. You have the fox, you have the deer. You're in a wonderful world. You've got a lot of balance around you. And at that point, you just see you may have gotten all stabbed, but you got little roses growing out all over.
Yeah.
So good things bloom from this. You become in that life, you became a master of your craft. And then you got to be the Knight of Discs, which meant you got to be the planner. You got to be the person who moved forward. And that's the lesson you're learning in this life. And now what we do is we take what was at the base of what was going on around your life. You just looked out at the open sea and tried to do things. You were blocked by your society from moving forward. You paired up with the Knight of Swords and you became the Queen of Discs. You proved yourself. What hurt you? What was going on inside? Being locked into you couldn't be the emperor, you had to be the empress. You ended up in prison because of your own thoughts. Then you made a change with him. You ended up getting the 9 of Cups. But part of the price of getting the 9 of Cups and getting everything you wanted, you had to let everything go at some point. Now, these are the steps you took that were positive. You wouldn't give up. You've got a lot of knights on here, girl. You got 3 knights. This was a move in life for you. You got the Knight of Wands, which new endeavors. Then you retreated, which was a good thing to do. Then you looked at it and said, should I go for that 7th sword? You went for the 7th sword and you got all the way to the 8 of Pentacles. You got all the way to really honing your craft. Now, what were the challenges that led it to the next point in your life? You were given opportunities and you took them, but you overtook them and that you got locked back here. You decided to retreat and become the Page of Cups. And then you receded even more inside yourself. And the Hermit really means you either found a wise counsel or you found it inside yourself. But I think you carried him out when you came out and you ended up being a long-term planner. You had in this life so much of the patterns of all your other lives were put into place because this, I don't know, I gather from when I said, do you know what do you know about ancient Carthage? Ancient Carthage was a particularly difficult enemy for Rome. And when Rome went in, they not only killed it, they killed every person that was there or enslaved the rest and took them back to Rome. They sewed the land that the town was on was salt. So
Wow.
nothing could ever grow. Nothing grew there for 200 years.
Good grief.
I know. They really, but the reason Rome hated them, Rome was the antithesis of what they were. Rome was the ultimate dominant patriarchal society, and this society was more democratic and allowed women more freedom. They actually had women that were traders, that would, because they were on the edge of the Mediterranean Sea, and Carthage was the largest trading partner. They were born from the same subset of people at the time that were the Phoenicians that sailed all over. And they know for a fact that they sailed as far as England because they created bronze, and you can't make bronze without tin. And there was no part of their world that had tin. I mean, they were great adventurers, and that was throughout their people. Their people were much more democratic. So, where do we go with you now? I think you're doing it again, but I think this time you're really going to get free, and you're not going to look back, and you're not going to rethink. You've met people that were part of that soul life. We're going to come up here and all get together now. Okay. And there's Dr. Gail. We're going to make us all equal, guys.
Get shocked myself.
I have to do a couple things. Is there anything else you want to talk about that life, Kelly? Because I'm trying to think what I would normally do if it was a private meeting. I'm feeling a little pressed because it's an open meeting.
Right.
You are really going to make it out this time. I think
Can I ask a question?
I mean, honestly, I'm feeling emotional, but in a happy way. I feel that sense of the same as I said to you that I have felt when you've done it for me before, because for me personally, this it's come out in each time that you've done this, that this has been like a lifelong and a past lifelong quest for me to find this sort of contentment, right? This happiness, this joy, and to fight that negativity. And so you're constantly like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get this? Why can't I figure it out? Whether I'm talking about this life or my past lives, like, what's my problem, right? Why do I keep repeating the same pattern? And when you do these past life readings, you walk away thinking or feeling, at least I did, that this wasn't me. I now understand myself a little bit better. There were circumstances, there was people, whatever situations that sort of led me in that direction. And so I feel a sense of relief in a way. And what's interesting that came out in this one is the sort of spiritual sort of thing, like psychic thing. And that's kind of cool to me. So I have a question
for you, Jill. Yeah, I have a question for you, or Nancy. When that Seven of Swords, when she's reaching out to get the seventh sword, is that correlating with when she's making her leap over the hill? Is that the same?
It's like that. She's reaching, you're back in that position. I have all these things that I know how to do. Should I go for the seventh sword?
Right.
And the other thing I find interesting in that card is he's standing in the dark making that decision.
Yeah. To me, it's like temptation, because old habits die hard. And when you reside in fear, you almost talk yourself into believing that that's really the way that it is. And so you feel like you have to be like quick and stealth and sneaky sometimes, because it's like you get them before they get you kind of idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, gotta outthink the back part of your mind.
Yeah,
100%. You gotta get sneaky and make yourself feel good no matter what.
Yeah, it's like doing a Jedi mind trick on your own brain. Like that's really what it is. And what's funny about that is now currently in this life, what I'm doing now is trying to, basically change the way that I think about things, right? No,
and you just use the word I hate most in the world. You're not trying to do it. You are doing it.
Yes, no, 100%. But the point that I was trying to make is that, you know, I literally had to take a course to help learn how to think more positively, right? And so what Nancy Jean just said about like the six swords being in the dark, to me, that's my negativity, right? That's that inner self-critic that's like, hey, who do you think you are? You can't do that. You get back there. Like,
and you also tend to hold on to when you got demoted from your potential to be a queen to be a page. Go sit in the corner and be a kid.
Yeah, children should be seen and not heard, right?
Right. Yep. I remember hearing that.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't work. Everyone, did not work. I was the loudest kid in my house. I can remember my mother looking at me once and saying, "Do you ever stop talking?" And I was like, "Why? I have so many good things to say." And she's
right?
Like,
I used to be called Chatty Cathy, and it's like, listen, I mean, I got things. I don't know what else to tell you, right?
Okay. Do you have any other questions about? I'm going to pull a pendulum and see if there's more that I need to clarify. I'm going to ask the garden. Here it comes again. So those of you who have motion sickness, and we're going to all shrink and get little, and then we're going to make Dr. Gail big, and then we're going to make the garden little.
It's like a game show when you do that, right? You move everything
it's
around.
like when they go to the question, Alex,
right.
is yeah. Okay.
We'll take the garden for 200, Nancy. No.
Okay, we're gonna see. Okay, is there any other word on here that we need to find for Kelly? Is there any other word she needs to pull away from this and understand for herself? Power. So you've already picked it up, I think, for the most part. So I'm going to put the blame on you, Kelly. Am I going to the other people's questions that ask questions today?
If that's what you feel like you want to do, absolutely. Okay. I listen, I feel pretty tuned up at this point. I mean, Nancy Jean, honestly, thank you. And to anyone who, all the lovely comments in the chat, thank you, everybody. I love doing these kinds of things with the support of the people in the chat, because it's not just for me. Hopefully you got something out of that too. And don't forget that if you want a past life reading, to go to Nancy Jean's website.
I'm rolling it on the bottom. And I said, look in the resource folder. No, you need to look at the part that says shop, SHOP, big at the top. It'll tell you how to get your own little. Whoever I'm reading for now, you're not getting the full deal. We're going to
No.
I can only do so many of those in a day.
But thank you.
Okay. And well, thank you for doing it. I think it takes guts. I know readers that for Christmas, I offered readers that I know free 12-month readings. And they, two of them called me back and said, I never let anyone read me. And I totally understand that, because I never really, if I have a question, what's my energy doing right now? People I can call. But as far as like a full down and dirty, let's get in there and see it reading. My hair is purple for a reason. Blocks those vibes.
And okay. I want to make a comment on rose blue. Yes, you can now start putting in your request.
Yes.
I think, Nancy, you already have some, and I've already
I have a couple that snuck in last night ahead of y'all, because apparently they don't read the directions, which said, I'm not taking questions in the comments, but I didn't.
They actually, on the comments, yeah, but the people here.
Karen J said, I've had experience where I remember past lives. In one that was 40 years ago, I was watching an old movie screen flipping very fast, and it slowed down. And I saw images I recognized. And I can only put 200 characters in this. And so her question went on to say, are those relevant? Yes, those kinds of images are relevant to you. They've been sent to you by your guides to take a look at this. I can't watch, like, there's a thing called the White Lotus, where all these people are really mean to each other and they're all kind of locked in a space, and then one of them ends up dead. Spoiler alert. I can't watch movies like that, because I have actually been regressed into lives where I was totally abandoned and did what I was supposed to do, and then I was totally sold out by the people around me. I think that has something to do with working in politics in this lifetime too. So I'm just saying that there's experiences you will have that you will remember like that. And so when I see movies that are all set up movies and somebody's going for someone's throat, I won't watch them. I do not find that entertaining in the least. Sin Min. Okay. I'm going to ask if Sin Min had one question to ask about a past life. What word on this garden should she go looking for? Okay. What are you allowing in your life this time that's limiting your beliefs? And you know, it doesn't say you're doing it necessarily, but there's something that you can tend to draw around you that will stop you from going and moving as fast as your beliefs can move. It's kind of, and I know you hang around Sin Min. We can look at that another time a little differently. Okay. Ron, unconditional love. Okay. I'm going to stick with the pendulum. I love this pendulum. It's a tiger's eye pendulum. You can't see it because I have a crappy camera, but yeah, in some ways it's a beautiful tiger's eye, and tiger's eye is a stone that reveals. So that's why we have it. Okay. And what is one thing that Ron should be working with that's coming out of his past life? Soul family and learning how to do what's right for yourself. What'd you get?
Spirituality and religion.
Yeah, well, that would.
I kind of think that you are doing that already, Ron.
Yeah. So no, don't panic. Don't worry. You're doing everything.
I want to make an announcement. I've already gotten 9 requests, so I'm going to cut it off.
Cut it off. There'll be no more. Okay, and then I kept from Pauline S. She wrote this to me last night in the chat. Yes, which past life has affected me to fully stand up to my mastery and presence? And what do I need to do to heal that? We're going to ask for a word for you to meditate on that will help you do that. This is for Pauline S. It says you need to embrace the good things in your life and embrace things that happened to you when you were younger that you might fight with now, but to embrace them, and that's what's going to move you forward. So what your past lives abandoning them have stopped you from doing. What did you get?
Trust and faith.
Mm-hmm.
Got to believe in yourself. As my mama always said, believe. We must believe.
I got one question really early, and since when she's seen what we do, she's feeling this way about it. Maybe I should hold my question for privacy later.
I have that written down, yeah.
I think JJ. I love you right back, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, well, just let us know if you want it to be read or not.
No, it's about whether she's had a past life with a person.
Yep.
And I don't think I want to get into all the peculiarities of that. So not that it's peculiar, it's just peculiar to me. It's different, new to me. Okay, where are these questions? I'm finding them. What
1048, Spirits Beyond. 1048, the next one.
10? You mean 1148?
Oh, sorry. 1148. No, 1048. No, it's 1048. Oh, my time. Oh my gosh. It will be 1148 your time.
I'm going to the 48s, Dr. Gail. I got you covered.
I'm on the West Coast, everybody.
Deep Albuquerque, Nancy Jean can play that banner in a moment and let you know where you can order the past life Oracle Garden from. It's made by someone else, Alma.
Alamade.co. I just put it
I've
up.
actually got a chakra garden from her that I use all the time.
Mm-hmm. She has some wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
Someone told me one time when they were looking at our partnership, because she designed my garden, and the regular oracle garden, the purpley one, and somebody said, "Do you know that you two are connected on a higher plane intellectual level? That your souls are actually merged up there?" And I said, "That's probably why Alma has scoliosis, because she's all twisted up trying to get in my head." And let's see, 48. I'm moving there. I'm getting there.
Spirits Beyond at 48. I'm just going to do the last two.
Mhm. Did you miss? Okay. I'm going to screw up some.
This was at the very beginning of the show.
I'm doing okay. We're getting there. Yeah, I'm going to comment.
We're taking a little pause. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up for Nancy Jean.
Yeah, if you like us and love us, and we're doing this for free, and we're doing it because it's the only way I can explain to people what I do.
Yep.
Right.
And don't forget to subscribe to Dr. Gail.
And I was looking. I'm going to show you the card that I pulled for today for everybody. And it is an elemental oracle. This is the pause moment. And it says adventure. It has south on here. And that means adventure. That's what we are doing today, is going down adventure. Kelly will see.
Who was I looking for, Dr. Gail? Rose Blue? Who am I looking for?
You're looking for Spirits Beyond. She's before that.
Spirit Beyond the Stars.
Yeah, she's before that.
Hi, Vivian. Hi, Coltos.
This goes on much further. I'm going to have you just tell me what she wants to know, because
let me look it up and I'll find it for you.
Okay.
So why don't you go ahead with the one that you see, and I will find her question.
Spirit Beyond the Stars says, "Can I please have a past life reading?"
There you go. You found it.
That was the end of the question.
Okay, I'm going to lay it out as the Spirit 7, and then you can continue to keep Alma's banner up, the Alma Co.
Yeah.
Almaid Co.
Let me tell everybody a little bit about my channel while you're doing that.
Okay.
Is that I deal with the ETs and the aliens. I'm probably maybe the craziest channel up here. So if you're into learning about the ETs and aliens, that you can come over to my channel.
Okay, we're 2 seconds away from getting into this. Yeah, okay. Yeah. This is a quick and dirty past life. This is the ones I used to read when I was at a table, when I read at table. This is a Spirit 7. This is the thing you saw me start with for Kelly. Well, this is a past life and this is your current life. You felt very, very trapped. You feel in this life, you feel like you pulled bad fortune in with you. It's because you've blocked, and you're doing it now. You're growing your spirit. In that past life, you had all the power in the world. You're a magician. You were the King of Cups, but you misused your power. So you're making up for it. You're learning. You're having to kind of go back to square one, but you're learning it. You've got 2 pages here, which means the information's been transferred. So this is the card you need to consider, is why do you keep caging yourself in? And you may be doing that because when you let yourself go before, you lost all your strength. You had the power, you felt the power, and your soul feels what it's like to have the power. You were a kind and caring person, but somehow your strength got misused. And that may be the limitation you're feeling in this life. And you were a guy in that life.
I got persecution and inquisition.
Yep.
And I also got wisdom with this beautiful unicorn on it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you feel like you know something, but you can't express it for one reason or another, I mean, you literally feel like you're behind the 8 ball, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Fighting to get out.
Right.
That's the persecution, probably, or perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Well, she may have used her power in such a way that other people who had power used it against her.
Exactly.
And you may feel like every time you start to express it, you think, oh, I really need to say this. But in this life, you pull it back because you don't want your head chopped off.
Right.
Which is not how I think you died in that life. I think you just died because you died. I don't think anybody came after you over it. I'm glad you could watch it all day. Prince Charming's mom, I can't do it all day.
Okay. Your next question is Elise Niedermeyer at 1128. Her question is, why are the zodiac signs on the past life garden? And how often do we have a reading?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I found it. The Alma designed it this way, and every once in a while, the pendulum will literally spring over and say, "Think about Aries energy," and this would be my interpretation of Aries energy. Okay. So, Lise, that's how I would use it. I've used this for deeper readings after, we went through most stuff. I could probably have thrown in and seen what signs Kelly was born under with this. I didn't think it was necessary. I thought with her feedback, we were getting enough understanding of the movement of her lives. And how often should you get them? I think if it depends on what you're getting read. If you're getting read for 12 months, you obviously need to do it. If I'm doing it by the end of this month. If you're just looking for like a general what's going on around me reading, you can find those in my shop too. And I advise people really not do that more than once every 3 months. I have a couple people that I mentor, but when I mentor someone, it's a different kind of agreement. And I know I get to know a lot more that's going on in their life than I will in yours. As far as I'm concerned, for the normal reading I do, I'm supposed to sprinkle fairy dust and let you know what's coming up and try to give you cookie trails to follow. But if people start calling me every week, they want me to live their lives, and I have enough trouble living my own. So, and
okay, so the next one you got up there is 1134, Jolynn.
Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. My sister and I had a past life together. We had written it all down when we said when we spend Mother's Day together, and she's now having a book made about both of us. I have a mood board. I send a picture. Okay. Yeah, those are, if you've met someone that you had a past life with, it's really fascinating if you want to go into that depth about it. And it's obviously something, and if you're asking me if that's true, that totally rings true for me. I don't see any illusions or delusions in that statement. Next one is
Rose Blue.
Yeah. Okay. Did I read Rose Blue? No.
No, you haven't. You want Kelly to go first on this one?
Huh? I'll do a Spirit 7.
I'm just shuffling my cards, waiting for something to happen.
Okay.
Something to happen.
It makes me feel comfortable when I shuffle. It calms me down. I don't know.
I can't shuffle the way you're shuffling. If I do that, every card flies out of the deck. It's not my method. And the way I shuffle damages your cards. So
yeah, I do that too. All my cards are bent. None of them lay flat now. That's because my hands are so tiny that all these cards are way too big for them.
Yeah, well, my hands are tiny, and that's why they fly. I had a guy one time who paid me my fee for doing a reading, and he just watched me shuffle the cards for 30 minutes. He'd never seen anyone just go over and over again.
I have 4 cards fall out here. I've got.
What'd you get?
I've got male, female.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the mother.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the high priestess or priest.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got scribe. So this is like the ancestry, the like the Akashic records, like
Right.
spiritual sort of thing. Now, I'm not sure what usually when Nancy Jean throws in the garden and like the mother or the male female, that happened the other day. It usually ties into something that Nancy Jean's going to pull out of the card. So we'll see what she gets.
Okay. What I got for Rose Blue is you wouldn't take adventures. You picked all the wrong people in the past life, but it all came out fine. So, in this life, you've come in wanting to build a stronger foundation. And it's kind of the total opposite. You've never felt strong enough to stand up for yourself, which you want to do, but you're learning how to get out of that. So I think by dumb luck, you had a very good life and you remember that, and that everything flowed together. In this life, you're like, I'm doing all the planning. Why the hell is nothing working out? Well, you're in the process of learning that about yourself, how to pull this out of your soul. Does that make sense?
Interesting. So the mother and the male and female Rose Blue, I don't know what that signifies for you.
No.
Other than if you struggle just with family in general, if you struggle with relationships with these people, it would be
I think those cards you pulled, I think that's for Jolynn.
Oh,
those are all the relationships she's had with her sister in the past.
There you go. See that? That's why we come to Nancy G.
Okay, the next question is quick, Gail, right? Yeah.
And I think you don't mean recent, like you want to get a second life, past life again. I think you meant a C in there. You type as well as I do, dear. No reason to be embarrassed. We figured it out. And what I'm going to see, quick bear, is what is a past life that's really affecting your life right now. It may have been one that was 3 or 4 ago. You could have skipped.
Teresa has a really interesting question at 148. If you want to write that down, Dr. Gail, for Nancy G to answer. Super interesting question about the process of doing.
Yeah, I've already got 10 questions on the.
When I get down there, I'll get down there. I mean, okay, lady, your life's in complete change right now. This is the life where things are going to change. You were a very romantic male, but you never formed a firm relationship with anyone. And actually, when I see this card with this card, it kind of means somebody who could sell ice to Eskimos. You were that kind of a person in that life. What you've come in this life is you realize that weakened you, and you don't want to be involved in battles anymore. I don't know if Quick Bear is a male or a female, but you ignore your feminine side a lot. And that's about to change big time. You're about to go through a real big spiritual transition. I think the ascension's been a little bit difficult on you, dear, because you're running away from a lot of this. This guy didn't leave with good karma. He didn't, and it wasn't because he hurt himself. I imagine his life review was a bit of a pain. Go, Kelly, what you got?
I got phobias.
Uh-huh.
And I got karmic relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're going through some big time karma change this life, Quick Bear, and it's not the most recent past life. It's just the most dominant right now for you, right? And we're gonna look at Totos question.
Yeah, Totos next.
Why is it that I have rarely seen past life readings that include lifetimes in the Americas, pre-Western contact, or Africa? I don't know, Coltos, because when I've seen people that were in the tribes in the people within South America, Central America, Mesoamerica, whatever they call that. I've actually seen people in Africa. I think, and I've seen a lot of people in Asia. I think one of the problems is most people don't. Well, they don't have a really firm understanding of world history, so they'll see images they don't understand what they are, and so they tend to bring them to their own thing. There's a lot of things I'll see, and I can relate it to Ireland, and then I will hear speech that is not Irish, and I shift what my vision sees, and I'll see. That's why I had the vision about Carthage for Kelly this morning, and all of a sudden I started remembering all the stuff I knew about Carthage, not the least of which when the Romans were trying to dissuade people to trust Carthage, they used to say they ate babies. Does that sound at all familiar? Yes, it does. Yeah, I think you answered your own question, Coltos. It's because they have more connection. Most people have a very Eurocentric education in world history, and I did until I homeschooled my youngest, and his curriculum went all over the world. So it was a world centric, and we had world history from the Big Bang to the first Iraq War, and we covered every continent, all kinds of people, all of the everybody. So, okay, is this one of the ones you had marked, Dr. Gail?
I actually got to go back up to Deep Albuquerque. She was right below the first Cold Toes.
Okay. Why am I not seeing it?
1134. She's right below Cold
Okay.
Toes.
Okay. Yeah, that is great. If you can meet someone and you say, I think we had ties, and you can figure that out for yourself. I mean, you don't have to come to me unless you just can't read yourself. I can't read myself, so I always have to go to somebody else. But if I want to know anything, trust me, most times I don't want to know, just because what I found out. But yes, that is a wonderful, what Jolene's doing is really an interesting way to handle past lives. And then we're going to go to, then it's Madhu.
Yeah, Madhu.
Madhu. Okay, I do a quick and dirty one. And if this intrigues you, just start looking and reading. There's some really interesting YouTube channels that look at souls passing. Some of them look at NDEs and sort of soul transition pictures people have in this life. It's a lot of different stuff like that can kind of help you get an idea of what you can learn from all this stuff. Whoa, girl. Woo. Yeah, you had not too good a past life, and I don't know how old you are, Madhu, but if you're in the era I'm thinking you're in, I think this feels like World War II, this past life, and you came into this life looking for peace. You've had a little trouble balancing at times, but this card reversed actually means smooth sailing. So you've managed to find your values in finding smooth sailing, but you died as a young man in a prisoner of war camp. I know that because I've seen that pattern before.
I've got wars and battles,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got the trees.
Yep.
So like the peace,
Mm-hmm.
the tranquility of nature, whatever you want to call it.
All right, you got the last one at Vivian at 1136.
Okay.
36 for you.
Okay.
That could be Madhu. It also can be just like, like if you're not, if you watch TV shows that have any kind of violence in them, if you react a certain way, can also do that to you.
I always fast forward through those parts.
Yeah, it can be like a trigger,
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to forget Teresa Ford's question too.
Okay.
It's not a for a past life reading. It was just a question in general about process.
Okay. This is a past life. It was an intemperate time. You didn't have any family support, and you were a male, and you stormed around that life very, very angry. So you may have some anger issues that occasionally flare up. But this life, you're learning how to master things. You haven't finished mastering them. The cards in this life can change, but you're never going to let anyone break your heart. And you have a really good radar for avoiding people who are going to cause you pain. And that comes directly out of this life where nothing was temperate, nothing was balanced, and nothing was sane.
I got angels.
What?
I got angels. Just angels.
Oh, I thought you were saying ankles.
No. I have 2 of those too. When I can see them, that is. I also got finances.
Yeah,
So,
that would be, she's learned to master certain things in their life this time, and you're doing a really good job of it, of keeping the anxiety away.
See, finances to me oftentimes make me feel like make me think of like the sense of comfort and contentment. You know what I mean? Like you've reached a certain point in your life and you just feel like good about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where Teresa's Ford question is, but I can read it out loud for you. It was really interesting the way that she worded it. Let me see here. Okay.
It was at 48.
Okay, I'm almost to 48. I'm almost to 48.
Say 48.
There it is. Ta-da. No. Is it possible that someone never had a past life on Earth or from another planet or so? And if so, could you still do a past life reading on them? No soul chooses to come to the Earth that hasn't had a past life. I mean, obviously, we are where people come. We're like the cold hard college of learning how to live with the soul. We're like the university. If you read from some people, like the guy that does the most benevolent outcome more, I watched him speak several years ago. I had a friend who knew him well, and we were invited to a thing. And we went one evening, and he was talking about how we're really the steel mill for souls. We're where the steel gets put in your spine. The lives we go through here can be particularly challenging, and very few souls are on this planet that have not been here before. I have never run into one, so I don't know. I know that people carry a lot of interesting energy from other planets and other lives. If I see that, I might say I can't really relate to what you're talking about because, as Dr. Gail will tell you,
I was like, can I chime in on this one?
Yes, you can chime in on this one completely.
This one's right up my alley. Teresa, if you don't have a past life on Earth, which there are some because we have walk-ins and things like that, I think a reading will show you a past life on another planet, and it'll be relatable to this planet. So I think you still could have a past life reading, and it will kind of look like it's an Earth reading, but it won't be. It's actually a reading for another planet. I hope that made sense.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to move the stream, and we're going to make us all together. And so we all have a chance to, with our cute little faces, say goodbye. People are starting to dive out, and I don't blame them. At an hour, I'm tend to be done.
Yeah.
And, I thank all the people who showed up today, and I thank all the people who watch it later. And like I said, if you want to find out about doing a longer reading, we can do that. The most time it usually takes it's 45 minutes to an hour. If you have a past life reading that's over an hour, you had one hell of a past life. That's all I got to say.
Right.
Well, Nancy, thank you for having us.
Oh, well, thank you for coming, because it really does help, because I can't juggle it all.
Right.
And I want to take care of everyone who bothers to show up. So I want to thank everyone that stayed through the end of the chat. Thank you, Sharon Sipe, for being the world's best dragon slayer out there.
Great. She even shut down the questions for me.
Very good. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.